Okay, thank you for agreeing to be part of this Mayor's Charity Initiative and the profile raising. Can you tell us for the video your name and the name of your group, please?
Yes, my name is Jane Macy and I volunteer for the RLNI at Newhaven Lifeboat.
Okay, thank you. And I know there's a huge number of things that the RLNI does. You could tell us something briefly about RLNI from Newhaven.
Well, the RLNI is the charity that saves lives at sea. So that means that we go to the aid of people who've got into difficulty at sea or along the shoreline. Okay,
that's good. How did you get involved? What's your personal involvement with the RLNI?
Well, I live in Newhaven and I wanted to give my time and skills to a local charity. So personally, I spend quite a lot of time on and in the water, swimming, rowing, and sometimes sailing. And really, I've always had the greatest respect for the RLNI's volunteer lifeboat crews who will courageously go out in any weather to go to the assistance of somebody who needs their help. So that's why I got involved.
And can you tell us how you're currently involved and how you got into this particular role?
Well, I'm one of the 4 launch authorities at Newhaven Lifeboat, and our role is to authorise the launch of the lifeboat if requested to do so by the UK Coast Guard. And actually, I responded to an advert on Facebook about nearly 2 years ago now, when Newhaven Lifeboat was looking for someone to join in that role. So I had an interview and here I am, nearly 2 years in.
Okay, and I know you're based in Newhaven. How many volunteers or staff work with you?
We have at the moment 23 crew, all apart from one are volunteer crew. And those are the people who go out on the lifeboat and go to the assistance of people, as I said, out at sea or possibly along the shoreline. We also have 4 launch authorities like me, who, as I say, will authorise the launch. And we have around 8 people who work in our shop who volunteer there. The shop is just next to the lifeboat station on the West Quay in Newhaven. And many people who help to organise fundraising events for the lifeboat as well. We're lucky to have lots of people in the community who support us.
I'm not going to suggest you were there at the beginning of the RLNI, but how long has it been set up? How long has there been a lifeboat based out of Newhaven?
Oh, there's been a lifeboat in Newhaven since 1803, which was many years before the RLNI was formed in 1824. So yeah, Newhaven has a really long association and history of having a lifeboat here for our community.
Yeah. And this may not be something you know from the top of your head, but in terms of the activities from Newhaven, how many rescues, lives saved in the time it's been there?
Well, I don't know about the time it's been there, but I can tell you that last year we had a very busy year and launched our lifeboat 70 times to people who needed our help. In approximately the last 5 years, we've launched 300 times. And we help all sorts of people who find themselves in difficulty at sea. It could be a swimmer or a paddleboarder or kite surfer who perhaps has become injured or can't get back to shore. It could be somebody walking under the cliffs who's cut off by the rising tide, or it could be a medical or other emergency situation on board a vessel at sea, perhaps a yacht or a fishing boat, something like that. So lots of people do need the help of the lifeboat from time to time.
Okay, good. Anything that you'd like to tell us about RLNI Lifeboat in Newhaven you think I might not be about to ask of you? Anything you think that we need to know that I don't know about?
Well, let's see. You know that the RLNI is a charity independent of government. And, you know, we're really lucky here in Newhaven. We have a lot of dedicated supporters who give their time and donations to the lifeboat. Our crew gives their time for free, but they do need to have well-maintained kit and equipment, clothing, a lifeboat and, you know, shore facilities. And it's the donations that we receive from our supporters that help to pay for all of those things, including the training of the crew, which is fairly substantial as well. And that means that they can continue going out to sea and saving lives safely, and then coming home safely to their families when they're job is done. So we really rely on our supporters, and as we all know, we haven't been able to see much of them in the last year and a half. So we're really looking forward to engaging with our supporters a bit more in person in the coming months when we can.
Okay. Now, with RLNI Newhaven, what are your most urgent needs in terms of people, money, whatever?
Well, I think, we've seen a lot of our funds depleted by the lack of fundraising events and activities in the last, coming up for a year and a half, really. So, we are in need of donations from our community. And there's lots of ways that people can do that. The RLNI website, which is rlni.org, has all sorts of ways for people to donate on a one-off basis or more regularly. But if people watching would like to donate more directly to Newhaven Lifeboat, then they can do that in many ways. They can pop down to the station and put some cash or a cheque through the letterbox, checks for Newhaven RLNI, or they can have a look at our Just Giving page, which is accessible through our social media. Just search Newhaven Lifeboat on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and they can donate money that way, and also stay up to date that way with news from the station, news about rescues and what the crew is up to as well.
Okay, that brings us on nicely to our final question. On the 5th of September, we're having a fundraising event here in Seaford called Support Our Seaford Charities, on the basis that all of the groups that have signed up or become part of the Mayor's Charities Initiative will have a free of charge fundraising pitch on the day, and on the basis that whatever they raise on the day, they keep. So whatever, if the RLNI, so hopefully can the RLNI have a stall with us that day?
Oh, I very much hope we'll be able to do that. Obviously, within the restrictions that may, or guidance in place from the RLNI and the government, we very much like to take part in that if we can. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so we're hopeful by then we will have got complete freedom, but that's everything crossed at this point. Yes, but it'll be good to meet some of your people face to face on the day. So thank you for spending time with us. And we'll have this loaded to the Mayor's Facebook, and I'll send a copy to you as well. Okay, thank you again.
Thank you very much for your support.